Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Nandito na naman tayo sa CHERIE MERCADO podcast. And this woman that we have here today was someone I met in an event. And it was actually one of the most enjoyable events that I've been to. Recently, it was for Women's Month. So that was last March of 2023. And she's one of the board of directors of the Pinay Tayo in Toronto. So that's just one of the things that we'll try to get to know about her, like the things that she does, her advocacies. She also has a business. And even before I knew her, I already knew of her business because her mochi donuts are just, oh my God, it's awesome. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. My daughter loves it. I love it. And I don't know, maybe you know about Isabella's Mochi Donuts, but then I won't say everything now. I'll just go and introduce her. Cecilia Noon. Hi, Cecilia.
Hi, Cherie. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. And thank you for coming.
Oh, my pleasure. It's an honor.
How have you been since we last saw each other?
I've been great. I've been busy. Spring is usually busy for the donuts. Mm-hmm. Now we're looking forward to Mother's Day. It's usually the busiest day of the year, even busier than Christmas. Wow. So for us, Mother's Day.
Time to indulge, no? Like Mother's Day.
Yes,
of course, every birth is unforgettable.
Yes.
But how was yours? You only have one.
Yes, I have
child,
one.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So I was living in Japan, met my Canadian husband there, and I got pregnant. I was 21. And yes. Okay. And then, my family's there and in Japan, and there's the Philippines, and he's Canadian, so there was Canada. So we were kind of like deciding what to do, where to have the baby. Japan was awesome. Like, mm-hmm. I lived there most of my life as of now. And but then, it's Japan. It's not an English-speaking country. Although I can speak Japanese, my husband can't. So there's some language gap and cultural differences that's, very obvious. So I was like, okay, let's just go to Canada then to have the baby. But that was me being an adventurous 21-year-old because I didn't know anyone. I was just me trusting my husband and hoping that it will work out. I didn't have any fear or doubt. Nothing at all. I was just like, okay.
Isn't that awesome? Going back to that stage when you didn't fear anything.
Yes.
Actually, it can be of any age. Fear is one of the most debilitating yet useless emotions.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So here I was, 7 months pregnant. Mind you, I was younger, smaller, so nobody could tell I was 7 months pregnant. Flew direct flight from Tokyo to Toronto. And it was like, oh, here's Canada.
That was your first time to set foot in Canada?
First time I was pregnant, stepping in this country. I was 7 months pregnant. And
because usually they only allow up to 7 months, I think, or maybe 6.
Yeah, I was borderline 7-8 months.
But 8 months, I know it's not allowed anymore.
But nobody asked me.
Yeah.
Nobody.
You were in a big sweatshirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody asked me, and I was fortunate that it wasn't eventful. I didn't have any cramps or swelling. It was fine.
Pretty much an easy pregnancy.
Yes, it was
a blessing.
It was. So then, I got here, met my mother-in-law. We stayed with her. Got to know everyone. It was great. But then we decided, less than a year after we had Isabella, we decided that we wanted to go back to Japan. Because, I miss my mom. Although my mom was here when I was having the baby. She was here for 2 months. But then we decided, Japan's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And we thought we had time because Isabella was still a baby. Mm-hmm. The plan was when she started going to school, elementary school, we would come back to Canada. But we had time. We stayed 4 years in Japan after that.
After.
Yes.
There's something about Japan that just wants to make you go back, no?
Yes.
It's really I love Japan. Our family loves Japan. We've visited so many times, and it's still not enough. But then I'm also hearing a lot of sentiments like you visit, but living there is a totally different story, especially if you're raising a child with a different culture other than Japanese.
So I blended in, but still I'm Filipino and my household's Filipino. That's why right now, whenever people, where are you from? From the Philippines, but I live in Japan most of my life. And
when you say most of your life, that was
like
when?
8 till 28. So I'm 35. That's a huge chunk of my life.
It is. But you still look like you're 28 right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's why mukha lang kayong magkapatid ni Isabella.
Yes,
you had her when you were 21, and she's tall.
Thank God she's tall.
She looks older than 12 years old when I saw her daughter.
Well, she loves makeup, like playing makeup, and that's her passion as right now is to. Oh, she just wants to go to Sephora, but for me. Like, she doesn't do it exaggeratedly. Whenever we go out. Like, sometimes...
Yeah, I saw her in the event. I couldn't even have guessed that she was wearing makeup.
No, but then, she would, like, record videos of herself. But she doesn't have a YouTube account or TikTok, nothing like that. It's just for her. She wants to practice. She loves practicing her makeup.
Did she get that love for doing makeup from you?
I know it, yes. For a year... when I was caring for her when she was a baby, I was at home. My husband was working the whole day, and I was bored. I think that was one of the reasons, maybe postpartum depression too, but I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go back to Japan. Because Niagara Falls, my husband's hometown is Niagara Falls. And I live in Tokyo. So for me, Niagara Falls is just such a small town.
And the bustle of activity in Tokyo, it's
in Tokyo we didn't even own a car because we didn't have to.
Yes, exactly.
But in Niagara Falls, you have to have a car
everywhere you go, even in the next corner.
Yes, and for me that was so boring. Well, Niagara Falls is so beautiful.
It's beautiful, but I understand you. The train line, if you look at the map of the train line in Tokyo, it looks like spaghetti noodles. It just leads everywhere. It's really going everywhere.
One of our favorite weekend spontaneous activities was pick a train station, and we would just go there and then walk all the way home.
That sounds like fun. That sounds like something I'd love to do.
Because every 2 minutes there would be a train station.
There would be a train.
And every train station, the surrounding area would have stores, unique stores, big stores, small stores. And of course, the bigger the station, the more known things would be there.
And everything is near the station.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There was this hotel that I stayed in Kyoto. Within just right when you get out of the station. And it's one of the best decisions that we've ever done in a travel was to stay in that hotel. Not that there's far less things to do outside of the station, because there's still tons of things to do. But right there and then, it's just a bustle of activity outside the hotel.
Yes.
And it's a nice hotel, and the buffet was awesome. The food in Japan, why? Why is it that good?
Okay, speaking of like hotels, because as a local, we have this, the Rakuten hotels. We would make sure to stay in a hotel monthly for cheap, like discounted hotel rooms. And I looked forward to the breakfast buffet because they have the best breakfast buffet, Japan. They make sure they have the Western ones with the cereal and yogurt and stuff like that.
To cater to all.
But the Japanese ones, the miso soup, rolled omelet. So, and the croissants, because Japanese bakery, it's inspired highly by the French. And, they make everything so good. And yeah, I love Japanese bakery.
Oh, so no wonder, because we always compare Japanese desserts to French desserts. I didn't know that they had a big influence on Japanese desserts. It's so funny. And that buffet in that Kyoto restaurant I was talking about, so we would be eating there all the time. And there's so much to choose from that I was ignoring this tray of cream puffs. They were this small, and I didn't try it until the last day. And I was like, I just keep passing on this thing. And I was almost full, and I got one piece. Oh my gosh. When I sat down, it exploded in my mouth. The cream puff, and then the pastry. I know, right? Why are we talking about food? And then, so I told my husband. So I got one, and then I pushed it in his mouth, and I'm like, "Try this." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, where'd you get that?" Good. And we just kept getting, and until now, I can't forget about it.
Yes,
yeah, it's crazy.
That's one of those things. Like food in Japan, like Western people think it's sushi and ramen every day, but that's not the case. Fall for me is the best season in Japan when it comes with everything, like fashion. We would go to Shibuya for Halloween.
Yeah.
And
it's the perfect weather for fashion.
Yes. and in Tokyo, at least, not maybe all of Japan, but in Tokyo, fall is long. Way longer than here in Toronto. Like you get to experience fall and the changing of leaves. It's just great. But the food, so fall foods like grapes and sweet potatoes. It's just
I need to get the topic out of food because I can totally talk about this for hours. But before I leave, before I leave that topic, I was just amazed. I remember looking at the display, shelves in the mall or anywhere you go in Japan, in the restaurants, and I'm amazed. They look like display cakes.
Like
they're sliced. They look like fake food.
Yeah, yes.
I don't even see crumbs falling on the side. And when they slice it,
it's like
it's
clean.
So neat. Yes. I'm like, not one piece of crumb here.
It's
this
like
must
you
be fake.
You don't want to eat it. You just want to put it in a keychain.
Right, exactly. And but I wanted to ask, how did you end up in Japan at 8 years old?
My mom. So first my aunt. My aunt lived in Japan. And, being Filipinos, we always bring
the family.
Yes. So my mom went first.
So what was your aunt doing there?
She was married to a Japanese.
Okay.
They had their own business. It was like a restaurant. And then, hey, to my mom, why don't you come check it out? My mom was a single mom. So she raised us by herself.
How many siblings?
At that time, just one other one. And we were only 1.5 years apart. We are 1.5 years apart. My sister's birthday was in March. So right now we're only a year apart. And I always just kind of, you're old. Because, maybe I'm older, but only for a year. Only with, 1 year. But yeah, it's my chance until September. September's my September's my birthday.
That time to flex.
Yes. So, so my mom's a single mom. She works so hard. She sent us to school. She did everything that she could. I have a lot of core memories, like just my mom working hard. And we never felt like we were lacking of something, which I thought, like,
even
how did she do that?
Figure.
Yes, no.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Single mothers are, I have no words.
And until now, I was like, whenever I have like a small inconvenience and I would like make a big deal out of it, I would snap out of it and just think, what would my mom do? For sure she would just be like, yeah, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Anyways,
she'd love to hear that when she hears this podcast.
So then she like Filipinos, like Philippines is great, but there's only limit of what you can do, especially if you didn't come from a
very affluent family.
Yes. So she's like, okay, let's do it. And then she loved it with the help of my aunt. She found a job, and then she just started working, and we were separated for maybe a year. Because the visa's not that quick.
So the time you were still in the Philippines. And
so
who was caring for you
my
then?
aunt, my other aunt, my mom is like the 8th child of 9. So it's a community. It was a community. I miss my mom.
Community.
Yes, I miss my mom, but with my aunts and my cousins, you know how it is.
Yes.
It was great. So yeah, she. It took a while.
After a year.
Yes, it took a while. She met someone and they got married. And, and next thing you know, my mom, she had my little brother, my half brother.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we
Is her husband Japanese?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you have a stepfather who's Japanese. How is that like? Like having a stepfather from a different culture, but you were already familiar with the culture living there.
Yes. But unfortunately, he passed when my half brother was 3. It was a car accident. That's why I said, like, how can my mom do all these things by herself? It's like, I didn't work out with my dad, and then she found a guy which was a great guy, amazing. I loved him. I thought they were perfect. Yes. They were actually all in the car. My brother was 3 then, and he only had a scratch. My mom had to have surgery. I think her femur broke. Mm-hmm. So that was, a problem. But she's fine. Mm-hmm. She's normal. And we lost our stepdad.
Mm-hmm. Your mom lives in Canada with you right now?
No,
she's in Japan.
She's in Japan.
Oh, so she loves living
my
there.
brother. Yes. I was like, why are you here? I mean, now she's living by herself because my brother is at school, in Japan, but
at a university already.
Yeah, he is 21.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And he's actually in the Air Force, like Japan Air Force. Okay. And he jumps off of planes. Something that I don't know how I cannot. We flew to Cuba the other day. It was a very short flight. Maybe that's why, because we were flying low, that I could feel every little bump. But
small planes.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm like,
they do that.
I was anxious for 3.5 hours, and I cannot even imagine jumping off of it. So anyways, that's what he does. And my mom lives alone. Like, he would come visit during, holidays and stuff. But she usually is alone, and she hangs out with her friends. But
have you asked her to move here with you?
Well, she doesn't like the cold. Although Japan's cold, but here it's very cold.
Yeah, not as
but my sister
is the winter here.
Is in the States. My sister in the States.
Which
her hometown is in California. But right now they're in Seattle. So it's cold still. My mom goes there twice a year. She's actually going in July. So we're going to go meet her there. I'm going to bring Isabella with me. And I'm looking forward to that. So so that's how how we moved to Japan, is through my mom and my aunt.
So you've lived in 3 countries.
Yes.
Philippines, Japan, and then Canada. And it seems like you travel pretty often. Apart from seeing your family in different parts of the globe, you seem to like doing it for leisure with your family. You've just been to Cuba. Yes.
We do love traveling. That's one of those things that going to Cuba, it was our first time, and our first time going to an all-inclusive resort, which I loved, but I love traveling. Whenever we go somewhere, we like doing what the locals do.
Right.
Like a traveler. I grew up in the Philippines until I was 8, so my tummy's pretty strong. I'm not scared of eating or drinking anywhere. My husband, on the other hand,
I think that's the first time I've ever heard that from someone
because
I have a Filipino stomach.
It's true.
I can battle any dish.
I'm thanking my NILAD for the water supply.
That's so funny.
But I grew up in the Philippines. We didn't have hot water. My yaya would wake me up because I had to go to school, and we usually take a bath, take a shower, take a bucket in a...
Oh, you did that too?
Yes,
the tabo
the tabo.
with a bucket.
So
with
she
cold
would
water.
make sure to boil some water in the takure first.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Did you say takure?
Takure.
Oh. It's just charming hearing it from you.
And then, it was amazing. And of course, when I went to Japan, I got used to the water, the hot water. And we take baths every night. So we would take a shower and then we would have to take a bath. And it's like a communal thing. I usually would wash the bathtub every evening. And my mom, you better make sure you did that before she comes home, because we would have to wash and fill it up and cover it. So you had to take a shower, clean, and then you would get into the tub.
Okay.
So that's a nightly routine in the Japanese household. And I got so used to that. So whenever I would go back to the Philippines, although it's in the summer, it's hot outside, I would hyperventilate whenever I was like, where's the hot water? I would hyperventilate. Well, we moved houses, so we had hot water. But then...
Why hot water?
Because the pressure's not
It's
the
trying
best.
to be. It's like pretending to be hot water.
Well, the pressure wouldn't be...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same. And... But, yeah, I would hyperventilate and just like, it's cold.
There's this funny story. When I was a kid, I saw one of my relatives, because we didn't have hot water, right? One of my relatives. The funny thing about our household is that the bathrooms are almost always never locked. It was a communal thing. Someone's taking a bath. Until now, it drives my husband crazy. It drives our guests crazy. But nobody locks the bathroom. And yeah, when someone's taking a bath, somebody can just go in and brush your teeth, and then another person will go in and pee, and then another person.
Wow.
It's one of my niece's friends, who's not Filipino, was in the toilet. She was peeing, and then my other niece came in, and her friend, my niece, was inside the bathroom talking to her. But then my other niece comes in and starts, brushing her hair. And then another person comes in and said, "I'm just looking for the cotton buds." And then another person, and then she was like, her friend was like, "Do they know I'm in the toilet?" And it's like, yeah, sorry, this is the Mercado household.
Yes, one of those things.
Yeah, but it's funny because when I was a kid, I entered the toilet, and my relative, I think my much older cousin, was taking a bath there was a cup of coffee.
Wow.
And it's like, you already heated the water for the coffee. Why didn't you just heat it for your balde?
Yes, balde.
It's so funny. Anyway, I'm glad you got to experience that.
Yeah, and I got to experience
child in the Philippines.
pleading to my mom to let me dance in the rain.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Because the other kids, one kid would start it, and then can I please join them? She would say yes usually, and and our neighborhood sometimes it will flood. And I didn't care. It was fun.
Yeah.
I would get excited if it floods.
I wonder what Isabella thinks of all these. You tell her these stories?
I do, but she looks at me like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. Well, she doesn't know until she experiences it.
Yeah.
She's like, "This is awesome."
Yeah. I never thought I'm older than you. I didn't think. I thought it stopped in my generation, like the taking going out in the rain and just enjoying.
I was a Batang Kalye for sure.
That's good. Which area in the Philippines did you grow up
Makati.
In Makati?
Yes, Bangkal.
In Bangkal.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's good. Let's talk about your business now.
Okay.
How did you become an entrepreneur? You own a restaurant. How many?
We did.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about your restaurants and how did you start it?
Well, so I went to school for business just because I didn't know what I was going to do. That's one of those things that, okay, just get a business management course. And all my mom wanted us to have is a diploma at the end of the day, right? So I did that. But then in Japan, I started working as an English teacher at elementary public school. I did that for 5 years until we moved back to Canada for Isabella to start school. When we moved back to Canada, I told my husband, I love Niagara Falls and that's where your family is, but we got to move to Toronto, to a bigger city, because I can't. I cannot be in a small city.
A bit closer to Tokyo, to the Tokyo vibe.
Yes. Maybe sometime in the future when I'm older, I would appreciate more of like the solitude in the smaller cities. But right now, no. I have to be in the heart of the
action.
Country. Yes.
Yeah.
So then, we lived in downtown Toronto, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I loved cooking. The love for cooking started when I was in Japan. I just wanted to make everything from scratch. So Japan, it was amazing with all the food available right in front of me. But then, my generation started Pinterest. And I had a Pinterest board, of course, America Pinterest. And I would look at all the brownies, they look so good. And then I would pin, I had so many boards. I would just pin cheesecakes here, chocolate cakes there. And I would order stuff from America, or Costco. They had Costco in Japan then until now. And, I would just have people over, all my friends, and I would cook for them. So that was my training. We would have barbecue. We would throw a party every weekend. Just for me to cook, an opportunity for me to cook.
Oh, wow.
So I look at all the recipes. Oh, this week, this is the menu. So it was my hobby, right? While I was working as a teacher. And then, so being in Toronto, I didn't know what I was going to do. You sent me some questionnaire that people wouldn't know about me right now if they look at me. Was one of those things was I was so into fitness. The plan was when I got to Toronto, I wanted to be a fitness trainer. That's what I was going to do. At some point, I was even thinking of entering a competition, the WBFF or IFBB, just those fitness, competitions. And I got here. Of course, I was like, it's too cutthroat. There's so many fitness people. I didn't even have a license. I have to maybe a 6-month course or something to get something, or something, a certification. But then one night I had my husband's family over for dinner, and I was so excited. I wrote a menu, and at that time, Uncle Tatsu, the cheesecake place, was so popular and famous, and people are lining up for. And I was like, you know what? I can make a better cheesecake. So then at that night, at that dinner party, I made a Japanese cheesecake. I took a picture of it, uploaded it on Facebook. It's in our neighborhood group of the Facebook. And I said, hey guys, if you would like to order some cakes, just DM me. It's only for $10. I just made that up, $10. I didn't have a cost analysis before that. I just said $10 because it's easy. Because I didn't know what to expect. I was a stay-at-home mom. I wanted Isabella to go to school, pick her up. I didn't want any, I just wanted to take care of her for the first year. Yeah, that was
your priority.
Yes.
And this is just something that you happen to love to do.
But while she's at school, I was bored. You could only clean so much or do the laundry so much. So then I started selling cakes from my apartment down in City Place. And I posted that photo and I got 12 orders for the next day.
For the next day, right away.
So I didn't have any equipment or any ingredients. So then okay, Dave, my husband, go to Bulk Barn. This is the list. Go to, they have cream cheese on sale here. Boxes. I have to box them. And boxes alone was like $2.
Right.
So that's like 20% of my $10.
Yeah.
And okay, Cherry, not to mention, I only had one pan and one batch takes an hour to make. So for 12 cakes, do the math, I had to work 15 hours, from setting it up to cleaning. And
you didn't make it part of Dave's list? Plans.
he was working full time, right? And so, I mean, and we didn't have money for all the pans, and I could only fit so much in the small oven.
Right.
So next thing you know, oh my gosh, people loved it. And when people love it, it's just word of mouth.
Yes.
And they took pictures of the cake that they took home 5 minutes ago and it's almost gone, and they would post it on Facebook. So, like when COVID happened, when everyone's at home and they started making sourdough bread or cakes, or even the Filipinos in Toronto, like making ube and stuff. And they would, hey guys, if you want some kuchin tayo, you can buy some from me.
When was this first time you've ever did the cheesecake and people ordered from your neighborhood?
2015.
2015, okay.
So, so like, that's way before COVID. So that means people were not doing that. Social media was there, but it wasn't used to sell food and,
Yeah, it wasn't the thing for social media.
Yes, unlike now.
When did you put up your first restaurant?
So 2015, the first day I made that cake, I didn't stop making it for the following, next 3 years, every day. So Instagram people say,
so
hey,
it was that cheesecake.
Yes,
and what
I was
it?
only selling cheesecake.
What was the name of
Cecilia's Cheesecakes.
Cecilia's Cheesecakes. Okay.
Yeah.
And you were making it from your home.
Yes, at that moment. And we participated in farmers markets, and there, young people with their Instagram, like foodies, would come.
Sorry, go ahead.
Would come, and then next thing you know, one foodie in particular, one of his things were connecting businesses. So he was like, hey, we're doing an grand opening for this one cafe, and they don't have any sweets to pair their coffee with. Would you be able to do an event with them? Yes. So then I said yes. It was just a one-day thing, and next thing you know, we made a deal, and we were supplying them cakes. And they even lent us the back of their coffee shop so I could produce more.
At that time, at that level, do you think you'll be able to make good money if you just stayed in that level and didn't open your restaurant?
No. No.
It's too much effort, a lot of effort, not a lot of money?
I mean, you would hit a wall. Until now, it's a growing business, what we have right now. Although, if you would look at it, the scale is way different in terms of sales, in terms of payroll, in terms of everything, sort of different. Where we are now and where I was.
Can you tell us where you are now?
Right now, well, the donuts, Isabella's Donuts, we have 3 locations. We collaborate with big brands, and we're making deals here and there that I cannot disclose as of now. But, we have...
Or you're going to have to kill me.
No. And, it was, my husband was working full time when we started the cheesecake business, and it was only me that was making it, and my husband was my, what do you call that, my supply runner, lifting heavy stuff for me, like sugar,
and your financier, I suppose.
Yes. And he would deliver. So we were partners, but now we have a team. Like, I'm here, and
it's running.
I work from home, and I focus on the business. I'm not in the business,
But that's amazing that you were able to do it that way. That you have a system that allows you to be outside of it, and it's still running smoothly.
Yes.
And you have 3 restaurants,
stores,
3 branches, right? It
Yes.
must be the business schooling that you you did that taught
To
you
be
how
honest
to do that?
with you, maybe now, yes. But when we were first starting, no, not at all. Business school taught us how to write a business plan and to have SMART goals and calculated risks. No, when we
Yeah,
started,
not
when
how to start and
No.
dealing with all the
when we first started the restaurant, we didn't have any money at all. We put it together through Kijiji stuff, like $200 for a stove. It was so cheap. Like my stove at home, where I was living, my apartment was better than my restaurant stove. And so many kitchen nightmares because of that. So many financial hardships starting it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what's your biggest failure? What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite failure, business failure that made you learn,
I don't
the
know.
biggest lesson?
Oh, lesson maybe, but failure, like every day there's a challenge, even now there's always something. But the biggest, I think, problem, I wouldn't call it failure because we kept going, was, okay, it's funny. Okay, maybe not overly dramatic. So we were known for brunch. Okay, so Saturday, Sunday would be the brunch crowd, which is a good thing for brunch and a bad thing because Monday, Tuesday is very quiet, and then here comes Saturday, Sunday, and it will be packed and people would line up and you could only serve so many people. Right? So now we experience how
Like on a
restaurants
business
work.
point of view, can half of you come on Monday and Tuesday?
Yes. So, but it's not like that. So anyways, Saturday, as I said, I mentioned, we didn't have anything, not stainless steel kitchen. No, this was Canadian Tire deep fryer, the home ones that you put on top of the table and it could only fry so much. But we had so much in the menu that when people order all at the same time, our what do you call that? Like the electricity thing would drop. So
it would trip.
Yes, it would trip. Yes,
going on.
Yes, because we didn't have, how restaurants would have a vent. That place didn't have any. So we couldn't install gas.
Oh, okay. So everything was electric.
Yes. So it would trip the supply, the electricity supply. And we were so busy. There's order tickets right in front of me.
Gosh.
So what we just had to do was change the, what do you call those? My husband would know. Something in it that you buy. And he would have to change it because that one died.
The fuse?
Yes, the fuse. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
You're thinking of so many things already. That's a husband thing.
Yes, the fuse. And then whenever, because, we're a team, although we had people helping with us at that time already. I was in charge of the kitchen day in, day out, Cherry. Like, I didn't sleep. I was so stressed. All I did was cook and clean.
Food is a tough business.
Yes.
Huh?
And my husband would be the front of the house, in charge of front of the house. He would manage it with a few other girls. So then every time that happens, he would have to go downstairs and change the fuse. And he got electrocuted.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
You didn't think it would be life-threatening?
This is the same day. Oh, your bathroom is leaking.
Oh my.
And there's people lining up. How can you tell customers, hey guys, our fuse was busted, just wait.
Oh my gosh.
No, it was hard.
Yes, and sometimes how customers can be difficult. Sometimes I'm sure but they're not going to understand not all of them.
No, they were waiting in line. They finally got a table. They got their order taken, and you're gonna tell us you cannot make food.
At this time, you weren't just serving donuts.
No,
you were serving a whole.
We didn't start with donuts. We started as a brunch place. We were known for the mochi pancakes at that time.
Oh, you're making me want mochi pancakes. Okay.
So Vlog TO came.
I hope not that day when you had to leave.
No.
Okay.
Vlog TO came and we didn't know what brunch was. It wasn't a thing in Japan. We're like fresh
it's
off
not?
the plane
Okay.
from Japan, right? Like a year. What's brunch? Oh, I guess we're a brunch place now. We didn't know we were a brunch place because we tried everything. We were open from 7 because our restaurant was at the very end of Queen Street East. So we thought people would come for coffee and breakfast sandwiches before they got on the bus. So I would have to, I bake muffins before we opened. So that means I would be there by 5 a.m. And then we also had takeout for dinner. So we would be there until 9 or 10 p.m.
Wow.
Because we wanted to cover everything, all our bases. We wanted to be that store, even though it was just the two of us. I don't even know how we did it looking back, because we had Isabella, she goes to school. One has to go, usually my husband, go to pick her up from school, her extracurricular. So I would be alone during the
Running the
downtime.
place,
4 to 6. Serving.
But is this the reason why you decided to just focus on the donuts?
No, COVID did that.
Oh, okay.
So we actually, 3 years, we stayed in that small restaurant, our first restaurant. And we were making donuts then, 2017. But it was part of our Japanese bakery line. It was it wasn't the main thing. I thought, some other products would be better.
Makes me wish you still have the brunch. I want to try it.
Yes. We still get calls. So then we moved to a bigger place because we could. Just up the street, still Queen Street East, the beaches, because that's where we lived. And
with better facilities, hopefully.
Better. Gas stove, like 6 huge burners.
I can imagine you
deep fryers, like real
really
one.
kissing the gas stove.
Yes. Big oven.
Yay.
But at that point, I stopped making cakes. It was just too much. And we were hand rolling the donuts. Just, whenever you go to a restaurant, you didn't go there for the donuts. You went there to eat, and maybe you're going to pay at the counter and you see there's some donuts there and you want to take it home. So we would make 12 a day. Just something to hey, we have donuts too. Just something to take home, right? Not like the main thing. So we opened that store, the second location.
So the first one was still open?
No. I mean, the second one that we moved into after we closed the first location was, we opened in May 2019. So we were just open. We were just a full functioning restaurant because we had the izakaya part of it from summer 2019 until March 2020. So it was short-lived.
Yeah.
Yes. So for a restaurant to function for less than a year, it wouldn't make sense, right? You don't even make money around that
just,
time.
Getting your momentum.
Yes, exactly. You have to do all the seasons maybe 3 times before you figure out
for people to
what
even
works.
discover you.
Yes. So then COVID happened and the fear of unknown. We even stayed in Niagara Falls for a month. We closed the business because we couldn't, serve people, stay home. So we moved to Niagara Falls for a month. Lived with we had a place here, but we stayed in Niagara Falls for a month because we were scared. So what if things just started to go downhill and people are looting? Just thinking of bad things.
Right.
And Toronto's one of the biggest city in Canada. So we didn't want to be there here
when all those doomsday scenario were in your head.
So we were in Niagara Falls. It was peaceful. It was a good thing.
Now the peace. Now we need the peace.
Time to think. So Dave and I, what are we gonna do? It's not like the rent is gonna.
What's Dave's line? What does he do?
Oh, Dave, before he quit his job and just dove into our own business. He worked at a hotel. So food industry, service.
Right.
That's
so
his
now
thing.
he's fully on board as well.
Oh, yeah, since we started, like 2016.
No, I mean, now he quit his job. And
He quit his
he's
job in
like,
2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't have worked. We couldn't afford anyone to.
So that's a risky
yes.
move.
That's why
for the both of you.
Yes.
I admire you guys for putting, for being that risky.
Maybe now, if you're telling me that we would have to do it all over again, I'd say no way. Like, I'm amazed on how it turned out. But oh my gosh.
But it's probably because you really refuse to give up. I mean, there were many challenges, but this is what we have. We already put all our eggs in this basket.
So
and it's got to work.
We love what we did and what we do.
And you cooked well. Your core product is really good. It's just like the system and all these other things.
Yes. So we were no strangers to, what do you call that? Mishaps or unfortunate events. I live in Tokyo with Dave from when I was 20 until 28, like Tokyo, Yokohama. But my hometown where my mom is right now is Fukushima. So Fukushima is...
Were you there when the...
Yes. 2011.
Yeah,
Isabella
when the
was born.
happened?
Yes. That's my hometown. Minamisoma was my hometown. And 2010, Isabella was born. We moved there 2011, February. I was so happy. We stayed with my mom. We were in Fukushima when it happened. The earthquake, the tsunami, and the nuclear meltdown. We're like 30 kilometers away from the nuclear meltdown, from the nuclear power plant. And so we were no strangers to that. We had to evacuate. We evacuated to the Philippines because Isabel was a baby. We were scared.
Wow, that must have been
COVID. COVID's not bad.
When COVID came, you were like, yeah, okay.
Yes. But just
you went back to the Philippines
for 2 weeks.
Oh, for 2 weeks.
Because when we planned to move back to Japan, in Japan, school starts in April, and we were teachers. So we had time. So we flew there in February.
Wow, that
March.
must have been crazy.
It was crazy.
Did you have to evacuate quickly? Like when...
We chose to, not because the government said so. We were not within 20 kilometers. But we chose to because Isabella and... we're just
right. So the other in your neighborhood, there were still people living there.
Yes,
who eventually evacuated.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's there. I think that 20 kilometers still you cannot still go back, but no around it, which whatever if that makes sense. But yeah, people. My mom still lives there. So when COVID happened, we're like, what are we gonna do? I don't want to stop. We invested so much into this business, so we're gonna have a takeout thing, right? That's all we could do. So we pick and choose what to offer. Like for example, this weekend we only open Friday to Sunday, and then Sunday night we would go back to Niagara Falls.
Okay.
Yes. So that was the routine for a month, for just a month. After a month of break, like nothing at all. And then next thing you know, we decided, okay, we're just gonna make donuts this for this weekend. And that was the busiest weekend out of all their pop-ups during that time.
I remember you were saying you had a karaage pop-up.
Yes.
And what was the other one? The pancake.
Yes, the pancake
the
for
mochi
sure.
Pancake. And then the donuts just flew. People just went crazy for the donuts.
So that was like a light bulb moment. And we're like, okay, we're a donut shop now.
Nice. I love how you make those decisions. You're like, it's $10 and now we're going to make,
Yes, I told you.
Now we're a brunch store.
Okay, I love my alma mater. I went to De La Salle TAF for my school, my business, but no, I didn't.
It's a reality. I went to journalism school. I took up communications, mass communications, but hardly any of the things that I learned was the one I was using when I did my career. Maybe it taught me things like working with a team when you had you know group works to do in school, or these other things like showing up, not giving up. But the actual curriculum per se, it changes quickly. I mean,
Yes. No.
especially in well, in some courses, but also in my program, which was communications. By the time I went on field, it was obsolete what they were teaching us.
But it was no. But right now though, I appreciated the fact that I went to school for something. For that, I mean, working from home, just
So
managing the business. But when you're in the business, especially in the food industry, it's different, right?
So is it easier now?
I wouldn't call it easier, just different.
What are your everyday challenges now? What are the things that you have to be on top of and making sure it's working?
I still make sure to connect with everyone working on that day, every day. How many donuts we're making today? I'm still involved in that decision making, although remotely, and just spreadsheets that our sales, expenses, talking with suppliers, big customers, big and small. I mean, like emails and expansion. Yeah.
How many staff do you have now with those three
as
stores?
of now, we have currently on the payroll we have 20.
That's good, and you get to do things. You just visit the branches once in a while.
Yes,
but
I
you
do
don't
that.
have to be there on a daily basis.
Yeah, but I do it a lot. I would designate. They don't know. I would designate a day. Oh, yeah, today I feel like going to this occasion. Yes.
What kind of boss are you? Are you scary? Are you strict?
No. Okay, thank you for asking this, because they wouldn't teach you this at school. They can write all the management books there is. You could be Ted Baker or whoever, professional. But no, like I figured out by myself, I wasn't a great boss. One of my pet peeves was, why are you just standing there? Like there's a million things to do. Especially in a restaurant. Or asking me, what should I do next? That's, but then, okay, that's good. That was my pet peeve, but that doesn't mean that I should be rude. As a boss, I didn't like that. So it took a while for me to kind of engage and be more like, hey, how's it going? Maybe we should do this. Like choose my words better.
Right.
Like communicate better with my staff.
Right.
So I had, like, maybe it's a Filipino thing, because no offense, mom, but my mom would be like that sometimes. Like, she would say something or do something that's like, oh, I feel bad. I'm sad that she did that or said that. She said something hurtful. And then she would, after, she would realize and feel guilty about it, and she would make it up to us.
In another way.
Yes. So it's a good thing, but it's also kind of toxic.
Right.
Because why say mean things in the first place?
Right.
So as a boss, I was like that. I would be like, oh my gosh, I've taught you this so many times. Like, why do I have to say that?
And sometimes you can have an excuse in your head. You can justify it because things are busy, because I'm just teaching her, because she'll eventually have to learn all these things. But I'm glad that I'm hearing that from you, because communications matter, and because people are in their jobs a lot of hours, spending more time there than with their family.
Yes.
So the least you can do if you own the business is make an environment where they can be comfortable and they can make their best come out. And I'm also saying this because I was kind of like that too.
Right.
And I had that reflection when I was a reporter my entire life. I was working with the news, and then for close to 3 years, 2 and something. Why am I forgetting how many years I've become a government official? But then anyway, I headed a department in the Ministry of Transportation. And there were just so much demand, so many things happening. My boss was a workaholic. He always wanted things
The
yesterday.
pressure is so high.
The pressure is so high. And I realized I was mean to my staff. I couldn't
Yes.
choose my words anymore.
Yes.
I was just expecting them to keep up.
Yes.
And sometimes I fail to realize I haven't even communicated to them what my
Yes,
expectations
yes.
are.
It
And
was
now
just in
I'm
your brain.
It was just in my
Yes.
brain. And how are they supposed to cope with that? And they're different personalities too. It's not just
and they
one.
have their good days and bad days.
Right.
So, with you, with your boss, with me, with the financial hardships, like we have to sell something today to be able to go shopping tomorrow,
right.
to do it all over
All
again.
over again.
'Cause
Not
if you-
shopping for yourself, shopping for the
Yes.
for the store.
Yes. So, but then it's unfair for me to pass that pressure onto them.
Right.
So yeah, it took a while. But now it's like, everyone's important in the team. Like they're all doing so, like everyone is really important. Like every single one of them. They communicate well to each other. We have different groups. My phone, 20 of us. There's some front of the house people, kitchen people, the whole group. We have a lot of groups. So any problems or good things that we have on that day, we just express it, and it's a way better environment.
That's so wonderful to hear, because one of the things that bosses don't realize is that they have a stake in the lives of people. And I also learned this from my boss, who was a workaholic in government. But he would mentor us, not just professionally, but he would ask us how our families are. He would ask, and he would teach us how to be bosses as well, because we were heads of departments as well. And he was like, you're not just you're not just a boss in this particular institution or this particular industry. You're also their mentor in their personal lives. And he was like, I hope, because sometimes he'll tell us about our hair, about our nails, or something like
Random.
Is that still your territory? And he's like, I'm your father. I'm also, this is also part of
The relationship,
me,
I guess.
the relationship. Exactly. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing, because I just think bosses should realize that they are a big part of the lives
Yes.
of the staff.
Yeah.
Right? And
I agree.
you mentor, which is great.
Yes.
You do that with Pinay Tayo.
Yes. So Pinay Tayo was born, like Marielle from Islas. She founded it. And she, what we did, I was one of the speakers like last year. And that's how we formed the nonprofit organization, because we thought there's something missing, especially in Toronto. Like how there's so many Filipinos in Toronto, but we don't really gather. There's not really a lot of organization that support each other.
You're talking about just the entrepreneur Filipinos? Or?
Yes. Especially women entrepreneurs. Now that there's a lot of talented people out there, like how I got started. I made cakes from home, and that's how they're starting.
Right.
So why not? I wish I had someone that could guide me or give me opportunities, or just, like a space that you can share stories, nightmares or good ones, and learn from each other. So I thought it was pretty awesome that we have this.
So for those who are listening right now and they're entrepreneurs in Toronto, they can just approach Pinay Tayo and ask.
Yes, Pinay Tayo. They can follow on Instagram and Pinay Tayo Toronto. And we're planning a lot of events, especially starting this weekend, actually. Marielle and Tita Flips, the Kanto restaurant this Sunday. We have an event. And food, of course. Oh my gosh. Wasn't the food amazing?
It's crazy.
Oh.
It's just crazy amazing. You guys are so talented with what you do. That event made me proud to be. Of course, I'm already proud to be a Filipino, but that just reawakened my pride.
So much fun.
You guys are doing so well. And the food that you produce.
The spread. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. if you guys haven't tried Isabella Mochi Donuts, it's crazy. That's why I wish you have brunch. If you ever do that again.
Yes, I would definitely text you and give you
number
the
one customer
sneak peek.
So I discovered Isabella before I knew you because my niece brought me there and she's like, Tita, super good donuts. Da, da, da. And yeah, but it is. And she's not easy to please, huh? That palate of hers. So
thank you so much.
And the other food in the event too, like islas with that lettuce,
the lettuce sisig
wrapped in
ones.
lettuce.
Oh my gosh!
And then the bao mama, yeah,
the puto Tita Flips made,
right?
The cookies.
Yeah. So, we're nearing our end. We're almost, we're an hour already, but
wow, that
know,
flew by.
right?
It was so much fun.
So this will be your chance to tell them like where they can reach you and what other message you have for the Filipino communities. We can be watched all over because this is going to be shown in YouTube as well. Yeah. So yeah, your message.
So, Isabella's Donuts in Toronto, currently in Toronto. We're hoping to expand everywhere. In Canada, in North America, everywhere. It's limitless. And I'm hoping that all Filipinos in every corner of the world would get to taste our donuts. And we do make sure to have Filipino flavors in rotation. We change our flavors weekly. We currently have over 400 flavors, but a lot of Filipino flavors like turon and a mochi donut. That's actually my favorite. You know what? It's happening. June is Filipino month. I make sure that there's a Filipino week. The Maha Blanca filled donut. Oh my gosh, Sherry, you have to try.
I haven't yet. And you heard it right. 400 flavors.
Yes.
That blew my mind as well.
Yes.
I'm like,
so I'm actually, we're planning to expand everywhere. And I'm excited. You know why? Because I know everywhere in the world, there would be a Filipino.
That's true.
So,
that is so true.
I'm so excited to connect with locals, go to every Filipino-owned restaurant in Vancouver or something. I haven't been, but that's what I'm looking forward to when it comes to, introducing the business somewhere new. I
still want to squeeze in one last question before I let you go. It's an amazing story. I'm just amazed with like how you did all these things from the time when you grew up in the Philippines until the time you got to Canada. I was surprised that you were the child who goes out in the rain and plays in puddles and do the taba. I've always thought you had a privileged childhood. I don't know. I had that impression of you, which just goes to show that your impressions aren't always right. But like, what is your principle in life? What do you abide by? Seems like you had a roller coaster and a very challenging but fun life so far.
Yes. Okay, as cliche as it may sound, maybe you've heard me say it, everything really happens for a reason. Like, I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't go to that speech and meet Marielle and have the Pinay Tayo event. Things like that. So for me to go through everything that I've been through, good or bad, it added to where I am right now. And good or bad, you have to thank those things for happening. Because if it weren't for those things happening, maybe it would have led to a different result or a different place. So Great. Everything really happens for a reason. Right now, if you're stuck in somewhere not so good, it will pass.
Right.
Just keep going. It will pass. Everything is not permanent. Nothing's permanent. So, and it happens for a reason. So be grateful. Just own it. Take it. Ride a wave.
Also, because, when you believe that everything happens for a reason, for me personally, it makes life exciting. Maybe my doing the podcast with you right now, who knows, in in a year or two, or in 20 years, we might be business partners. We might, our kids might marry each other or something like that. But we might meet each other in the future, which makes life so exciting.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's why don't burn bridges too, okay?
True. Thank you so much, Cecilia.
Oh, my pleasure. So much fun.
I know, that was amazing. And thank you for joining us again in this episode of the CHERIE MERCADO podcast. We'll see you again next week in our next episode. Bye.
Bye.